So, what is Jesus' salvation according to the Red Sea? It's bondage. It's freedom from bondage, though it has many layers. How does this salvation come? It comes obviously by grace, and it comes by crossing over. But now, we're not done, obviously, for a couple of reasons why. And one of the reasons is we're still saying, well, how do we make sure that we bring to bear Christ's salvation so that these bondage layers we are increasingly free from? And the answer is number 3. Why is it possible? Why is it possible for us to get out? In other words, the Egyptians went through the water and were devastated, right? They were killed. But the Israelites went through the water, they were fine. Now, why did the Israelites get off? Why did they get off? Or let's go back to the water for a minute. Flood waters. If you go to most commentaries on Noah's flood, most commentaries on Noah's flood are going to say God could have judged the world a whole lot of ways, but water was significant. Why? If you go back to Genesis 1, the very beginning, we see that darkness was upon the face of the waters, darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved across the face of the waters, and then things began to happen. Instead of darkness, God separated the darkness from the light, and there was day and night. And God brought the waters together. He says they came together, and then there was land. And then when the Spirit of God moves across the faces of the water, it's the Spirit of God bringing order out of chaos. The water, not only in the Bible, but actually in the ancient cultures surrounding Israel at the time, water represented chaos. Justifiably so. It's a war. Water is chaos. Water is death. And yet God's creative spirit comes across the face of the water, and things get orderly. He brings order out of chaos. Therefore, when God uses the flood to destroy the world in the time of Noah, what he's actually doing is making a very appropriate judgment, because it's what some people have called decreation. What's happening is a reversal of creation. If you turn away from the Creator, you actually turn away from the goodness of creation, and disintegration and chaos is unleashed. Listen, you know that. Those of you who are here who are married, if one of you hurts the other person, and the one who's hurt decides, I am not going to forgive him, now you or her, you don't necessarily say that, but you don't. In other words, you're really bitter, you're really angry, you're refusing to forgive in a very small but very noticeable way. You're unleashing chaos into your marriage until you obey. The wages of sin is disintegration, which is another way of saying death. What God was doing in the flood was he was actually unleashing the forces of chaos, which is a justifiable judgment. It's an appropriate judgment, because when you turn away from the Creator, you turn away from the goodness of creation, and you bring into your life decreation. You bring into your life disintegration, the reversal of creation. And many people have pointed out that that's what the plagues are. Just before this incident, God visited Egypt with plagues. But what were those plagues? Same thing. See, as Pharaoh decided to resist the Creator, what came down into Egypt was what you can call decreation, disintegration. There was darkness upon the face of the land, and this actually might be called the 11th plague. Because what is happening here? Egypt's sin has unleashed the forces of chaos, and they've experienced decreation, and they're being judged, and the flood waters represent what happens to you when you turn away from God.